Hey Honey Buns, welcome to Honey and Prose, where we celebrate the magic of books, deep conversations, and stories that stay with you long after the last page. Whether you're here for bookish chats, thought-provoking discussions, or just a cozy place to be, you are in the right spot. Let's get into it. Alright, so welcome back. This is my February reading wrap-up. February was a very good month reading wise. I got, I want to say 5 books read. One book I ended up DNFing, so I replaced it with a book on my Kindle. So let's go ahead and talk about that one first. I just ran downstairs and made myself a cup of tea in my little cute mug in my reading era. So, cause it was a little sweet. The throat is not trying to it's not trying to let me be great. So I am going to start with the last book I read, which is Frenemies with Benefits by Sanithia Williams. And if you follow me on TikTok and Instagram, you will see that I did put a post up there because I had questions. But my questions were answered by the end of the book. I really enjoyed reading this book. Definitely had some characters that I hated, which was Tracy's husband, and at the moment I cannot remember his name, but because I don't like him, it does not even make a difference. He was a horrible human being. So was the girl who used to work with her, who used to be her best employee ever, who he slept with. She was a horrible human being. But I love the interaction between Tracy and Brian. I love the fact that he got her out of her head and thinking that she wasn't good and didn't know how to do things, as far as like pleasing anybody other than her horrible ex-husband. So I love the dynamic between them. Even when they were just friends, he jumped in and helped her with her business. They kind of worked in partnership because he had I keep saying flower shop, and it wasn't, it was a nursery, I think. And she had a bed and breakfast, so he would always bring her the flowers for special events or things like that. But I love how their relationship developed, even though she thought of him as the person who was always there for her most embarrassing moments when they were growing up. I love this book. I did give it 4 stars. 4 stars. I am finding that the bar is kind of high now for my 5-star books after reading The Reformatory, which that book is still stuck in my head. And after reading The Attic Child, those books are stuck in my head. But I did give this one 4 stars. I love the level of spicy. I gave it like 2 flames in my on my book review in my reading journal, because it was very mildly spicy, which I like. So it made it a little bit easier to read, and I didn't have to like skip pages because I didn't want to read it. So enjoyed it for that reason also. So we are going to flip back to the first book I read, which is Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. And this book is going to almost go without saying. This book was amazing. I loved the relationship between Yasmin and Josiah. I love that they were able to parent their children together without a whole bunch of drama. But they drove me a little bit crazy because they knew that they needed to be together. They just couldn't get their shit straight, for lack of a better way to say it. But absolutely love the dynamic between them. I felt for Tracy when Josiah started dating, I forgot her name because it's been a while since I read it, but he started dating the chef at their restaurant, and she was devastated, but she didn't want to say she was devastated. She didn't want to say she still had feelings for Josiah. I don't know why we do these things, but I liked that they came together. Spicy, I gave it about 2.5. it was tolerable. It was definitely tolerable. It wasn't as graphic as some I have read, so I really enjoyed that about it. Her friends were the best friends ever. The friends that will kick you in your butt when you need to be kicked in your butt, and she did. So really loved reading Before I Let Go. I do have, and I'm looking on my shelf, This Could Be Us, and I am going to read that next. I am waiting for Can't Let Go, and I think that comes out in May. So that one I gave 5 stars. The next book, and I am going through my journal because I did write some notes here. Did I read The Attic Child in February? Indeed I did. Indeed I did. This book, that's all I can say. This book, dual timelines, and then I love how the dual timelines came together. Love the story about Celestine, however they said it, which that wasn't his name originally. Let me see if I can go back and find it, because Dikembe is his original name, but of course when he was sent to the UK, I believe, they changed his name to Celestine. So he is Celestine. I loved his story about how close his family was and how much he loved his family, and how his mother was just doing what she thought was best for him when she sent him by boat to the UK. I think that the man who he stayed with treated him pretty well while he was alive, but he passed away. Family came, they treated him like a servant. And of course, the attic child, he did get put up in that attic and let out during the day so he could come down and be the servant, and then he was sent back up into the attic. Now you go decades later to Laura, who was also living in that same house. She lived in that house, yeah, with her parents. Her parents bought the house together. Her mother passed away, and then it was her father and the stepmother. Then the father passed away. Then it was just her and her stepmother. Her stepmother treated her like garbage, locked her up in the attic as well. And that is where she discovered Dikembe, sort of went and did some research on him, and it just sort of snowballed from there. And then the two stories collided. I love the way this book was written. It is written by Lola J. And she has a new book that just recently came out. Why can't I think? I'll put a picture of the book up on the screen because I can't think of the name right now, but it just came out. And I think I'm going to pick that one up as well, just off of the strength of reading this book right here. This was a 5-star book. This is a living rent-free in my head book. So I went from there to, well, between Before I Let Go and The Attic Child, I pulled out The Spite House. This is the one book that I did DNF. I could not get into this book. I felt like there was a lot of explanation of this sort of, it was just kind of slow. I don't get it. I felt like there was too much explanation of stuff, for lack of a better word, and nothing was really happening. It was like drawn out explanation. Oh, and this is by Johnny Compton, by the way. I even tried to read it on Audible because I do have an Audible membership. I couldn't. I think I went to sleep on the Audible. I am not going to give up on this book though, because I have heard very good things about this book. So I am going to pull this book out again and attempt to read it. I'm going to start from the beginning again, and then I am going to get into it. So that is the one book that I DNF'd. Give me a sec. The throat is dry. FYI, Brindy here on YouTube, I was watching her and she had this mug in one of her videos as well as another one, but I got a different purple one from Home Goods. I know we're supposed to be sort of boycotting Home Goods. I don't have any other reading mugs. This was so perfect. It's so soft. It is the right amount of ounces for me because I like a larger cup of tea. So I got it. And I'm going to hurry up because my battery is not much longer for the world. I have 2 more books to talk about. This one is After the Rain by John Jennings. And it is adapted from a story by Nnedi Okorafor. And After the Rain, it is a graphic novel about a girl who she went to visit her Nigerian grandmother and auntie in Nigeria. And you know, they have different beliefs and practices. So it was raining one night and someone knocked on the door. This young boy knocked on the door. And I think at first she sort of hesitated, but he kept knocking. So she answered the door. And he touched her. And whatever he had, first of all, when she first saw him, part of his head was gone and you could see like his brain. And she was like, how are you alive? But whatever was in or on him, he passed it on to her. And she was having these vivid dreams and hallucinations, and she could just feel herself changing. And her grandmother and auntie knew, first of all, that she should not have opened that door. Second of all, they knew how to rid her of what was going on with her physically. But there was still something that sort of lingered in her, but it was for the better because it sort of taught her, I want to say, what her purpose was in life. So this book was really good. It was a really quick read. I read it in one night. It is, how many pages, if they say? And then there's some notes and character development stuff in the back. It is approximately 127 pages, but it's a graphic novel, so there's like few words on the page, just a lot of art. I enjoyed this book. I gave this book 4.5 stars, only because it's a graphic novel and it, you know, it's like a quick read, but I truly enjoyed this book. The last book that I read, this is the other book that lives in my head rent-free. The Reformatory by Tanana Reeve-Dew. Off the bat, I'm going to tell you I gave this book 5 stars. I love the pacing of the story. It wasn't too slow. It kept my attention. I fell in love with the characters Gloria and Robbie. I love how they loved each other, how they depended on each other. Their mother passed away and their father sort of fled their area. They lived in Florida and went to, I believe it was Detroit, because, you know, he was one of those feather rufflers. He was trying to start a union and do things, and white people didn't like it. So they were after him, so he sort of fled, but he still kept in touch with his children, sent them money, sent them whatever they needed. He just wasn't physically there. So it was the 2 of them, and then it was another older woman who they kind of stayed with, but sometimes they stayed at home. This is a lot about the Jim Crow South and him kicking one of the sort of like owner, somebody who owned a lot of property in the city. He kicked his son in the leg. They sent him to the Gracetown School for Boys, I believe it's called. Yeah, the Gracetown School for Boys, or the Reformatory, which is more like a jail. They all had to work all day, all night. They did go to school sometimes. I mean, they went to school for a little bit of the day, but they at the same time had to work to maintain whatever this reformatory is. The reformatory had a bunch of ghosts, or haints as they called them, which Robbie could see all of them. There is just so much going on in this book. I don't even know if I'm making it make sense, but I almost implore you to get this book if you have not. It is a thick one, as you can see. It is story-wise about 565 pages, but worth every page. 5 stars, and I am still thinking about this book. So that is my rather quick book wrap up for February. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed my video, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you know when I have something new coming out. Also, I am trying to grow this channel and grow our community, so please share my video with your friends. Until next time, keep reading, keep dreaming, and I will see you in the next chapter. Bye.